Hello and welcome to the channel. In today's episode, I am going to be taking this pineapple as well as a few others and making some pineapple jam. If you'd like to join me in the kitchen, stay tuned. Before we get started, it's important to cut your pineapple. Now first, what I do is I take paper towels, I wrap a paper towel around the top and around the actual pineapple, and I twist the body of the pineapple towards me, and I twist the top of the pineapple away from me. That will release this green part away from the pineapple. The reason why I use paper towel is because pineapples are pokey. So I just grab it and twist, and that will release the top of the pineapple, the green part, from the actual body of the pineapple. Now I don't know how good these pineapples are. They smell amazing. I've had them for about a week, maybe 2 weeks. I've been processing them. I have bought an entire box of pineapples. They were $1.79 a piece. Couldn't pass them up. So these are completely ripe. As you can see, when you purchase a pineapple, the flesh is green. But as I'm down to my last 3 pineapple, the flesh is yellow, but there's a couple of spots that are brown. So I don't know whether or not this pineapple is actually still good. But I'm going to cut it and see. So let's go to the chopping board and let's start cutting this up and see how much of this pineapple is actually still edible. Before I do that, you can take the top of this pineapple and you can salvage it and create your own pineapple plant. I don't know how this would fare out because there's only a little bit of green still left in the center. This might actually not be any good, but you can take the bottom leaves off, just peel them down, and then place this portion in some soil, water it, and see if you get a plant. I may do that, I may not. We shall see. That'll be another video. But let's go peel this pineapple. I have washed my hands and I have rinsed the pineapple skin with some really hot water. I am going to slice off the top. Now, like I mentioned, pineapples are prickly as well as messy. I'm right-handed, so let's see. I have my compost bucket off to my left. So I'm right-handed. This is going to be, let me move because I'm right-handed and I'm not going to be able to cut this. Let's see if this will work better for me. Now I'm pushing on the pineapple and it feels like it could be like it's not quite 100% firm, but we'll see as I open it up. So I just cut the top off like so and toss this in the compost. There's what it looks like. And here's the core right here. I don't know, like I mentioned, how much of this is going to actually be good because I can see some dark spots in this pineapple. And I know I've had this particular pineapple for roughly a week and it was all the way green. So it must not have been a good pineapple to start out with because I haven't had this one for 2 weeks. But then I take my knife and I just slice the skin off. And you got to keep your hands out of the way if you have a really sharp knife. You're going to need a really sharp knife for this because you're going to want to shave the skin off like so. And you're trying to get all the flesh off. And as you can see, this pineapple has a lot of dark spots that I'm going to have to shave off. So I don't know how much of this pineapple is actually going to be usable. But I am going to shave it all off and then I'm going to assess it at the end. So let me cut this and I'll be right back. Once you've shaved all the skin off of your pineapple, then you can go back and you can clean it up. Cut off any dark spots, cut off any eyes that are still left, and you want to cut off the base of your pineapple. Now it looks like this pineapple, the core, is beginning to go off. As you can see, the core is browning. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to cut off the eyes, cut off any dark spots, or cut out any dark spots and see how much of this is actually going to be usable. So let me do that. I have cleaned up all of my pineapple, and I'm just going to cut it into chunks and put it in my measuring cup just to see how much I actually have, because I need to know that in order to add the correct amount of sugar. So this was one relatively smallish looking pineapple. As I mentioned, I had a whole box of pineapples. I have been processing pineapples for a couple of days, taking my time in between. And today is pineapple jam day. I did not make a video of me making pineapple pepper jam, but I will show you what that looks like. All right, now this is the core. Now the core is very fibrous, but it is edible. So what I generally do with the core is I will can it. I will can all of my cores and turn them into a nice sweet treat. All I do is just chop them down, put them in a jar, and enjoy them. Just like that. And then those will go into a separate mason jar, and I will can those up. Now I have roughly, it is a little bit less than 4 cups. Let's see. Well, actually it says it's right at the 4-cup line on that side. But if I look at this side, looks like it's a little bit shy. My hands are clean. I wash my hands every time I come in the kitchen before I start cooking. I would say this is about 3.5 cups. So I have about 3.5 cups of pineapples. So that's going to help me determine how much sugar I use in this recipe. So let's go to the stove. This is a second pineapple I decided to cut, but I just wanted to talk to you for just a brief moment. It's not that difficult to choose a pineapple. Most of the pineapples that you're going to come across in the store are going to be green. So choose one that is firm, that's green, and the tops, the green part, still looks to be alive. That's how I do it. You don't have to have any special tools in order to cut a pineapple. You can use a knife. I have a pineapple slicer, but I decided to use my knife today because there might be someone who doesn't have those tools. Just because you don't have it doesn't mean you can't process a pineapple. And then all you do is slice down the sides of your pineapple, as you saw me do just a moment ago. Take off the skin and the eyes, and then cut off the base, just like that. Discard your waste, and then if you have any more eyes that you have to cut off, now it is very slippery and it is a little sticky, which is why I usually keep a paper towel around, because I don't want to lose my hand on it. And I just cut off any eyes I still have left on the pineapple, just like that. See, just like that, really simple. And once I feel like I've gotten all the eyes off, or as many as I can see, because sometimes you might miss a few, then I cut my pineapple. I cut it around the core, and you can clearly see the core as you are looking at your pineapple. You might not be able to see it on camera, but the core is right here in the center. And then all I do, like I showed you a moment ago, was I cut around the core. I take a very sharp knife and I just slice down and around, just like so. down and around. I just like that. And then once I get that core out of there, I can either discard it or I can process it. I can can it, which is what I do. I can the core. As long as it doesn't look bad. If there's no dark spots in it, like that, I will can that. I'll cut it like I just showed you, and I will can it. So I'm going to process this like I did the other pineapple just a few moments ago. I'm going to cut these dark spots out, and then I'm going to place it in the bowl next to me. So let me do that. Now that the pineapple has been cut, I'm going to turn the eye on to a medium low, and I'm going to grab the pineapple out of the refrigerator. Now I'm using a mixture of recipes. I was online, on YouTube. I was in the Ball Blue Book of Preserving, or Ball Blue Book Guide to Preserving. And I'm going to use a variation of ingredients and mix up a recipe because I'm just not finding 100% of what I'm looking for. So I have my stock pot that is a 6-quart stock pot on the stove. I just got the pineapple out of the refrigerator. As you saw, I placed it on the stove. The pan is going to warm up. Let me move my canning tray out of the way. Now I'm going to place my 3.5 cups of pineapple in the pot. The recipe I found in the Blue Book calls for 1/2 of a lemon sliced thinly, so I'm going to add that into the pot. The recipe also calls for 2.5 cups of sugar as well as 1 cup of water. So I have my sugar and my water. Let me get that. The pineapple has begun to heat up. I can hear it on the stove. I have a long handle spoon. When you're dealing with jams and jellies, they tend to want to pop on you. And if you get that on your skin, it can burn you because it is very hot. So I am going to warm those pineapple up. Now the recipe says that you are to put all the ingredients in. So I'm going to put in the sugar. Now the sugar is going to turn into a liquid. It does call for water, but I want to let this sugar melt down before I start putting this water in here. Actually, I'm going to put a tiny bit of water because I can see that the sugar is sitting on the bottom of the pot and I do not want it to burn. So I'm going to let this come together and warm all the way through. Now you do not use a pectin when you're using pineapple. If you've ever made pineapple jam or pineapple pepper jam, the pineapple has enough pectin in it that it will gel up all on its own. You do not need a pectin when you're using pineapple. So I'm going to let this come together and I'll be right back. You want your pineapples to come to a boil and soften up. As you can see, I hope you can see, it's boiling and some of them are beginning to soften. I am going to use a stick blender and I'm going to blend down my chunks of pineapple. I don't want chunky pineapple jam. So I'm going to blend this down. But it is boiling nicely. Not 100% roaring boil because I can still stir it a little bit, stir it down. It does come back. As you can see, not 100% is coming back, but you want it to come to a boil. Now it is time to jar up my pineapple jam. I have used the immersion blender or stick blender and broken down some of those big chunks. I hope you can see how it looks. It's boiling nicely. It's nice and warm through. And I believe that the jam will gel up nicely in the jars. So I am going to get my jars and my ladle and begin to start ladling it in my jar. I'm going to turn off the stove and start quickly ladling in my pineapple jam before it begins to set up. Hope you guys can see. It is nice and thick. I'm putting it in 1/2 pint jars, 8-ounce jars, and I'm going to ladle it in to about, I think it's 1/4 inch. Little bit more. Now just remember, when you're putting jam in your jars, that it is very sticky, and you want to make sure that you're not getting it on the rims of your jars. There we go. Now I'm going to fill the rest of my jars and I'll be right back. This does have some chunks in it, so I want to make sure that I am debubbling. I don't want there to be any bubbles in there as it plopped going into the jar, so I'm just debubbling it. And I'm going to use a paper towel and put that off to the side so that I don't get sticky icky everywhere. I have some vinegar right here, and I am going to take just a clean paper towel, dip it in the vinegar, and wipe off the rim of my jar, just like that. Turn it over, wipe it again, because I want to make sure I am not getting any of that sticky on my rim and my lid doesn't adhere. So I have a lid that's been run under hot water, and I am using put my finger down, I am using 4 jars lids on here, and I'll put some information in the description box below about 4 jars lids. I purchased these with my own money, and this is the second time that I've canned with them, and I can say that I really like the product. I don't have enough for another 1/2 pint, so I'm going to put this in a 1/4 pint. And this is the one that I'm going to save and put in the refrigerator, because I don't have enough for a full one. There we go. Isn't that beautiful? And I only have, let me show you the pan. I only have a corner left. So that's what that one pineapple and a handful from a second pineapple got me. I have 2 1/2 pint, 1/4 pint jars. I have 5 1/2 pint jars and 2 1/4 pint jars. These are my pineapple jams, and these are my pineapple pepper jams. Now my 2 1/4 pint jars are going to be going in the refrigerator, and the rest of these 5 1/2 pint jars are going to be going in the Waterbath canner. So let me get those in the canner. I believe I have too much water in my canner, so I'm going to have to take some water out before the water gets to be entirely too hot. So let me do that. I scooped out enough water, but I'm not sure. I'm going to place my jars in the canner now, and if I need to take out some more water, I will. But you need to have at least 1 inch of headspace of, you need to have at least 1 inch of water above your jars. So I think I took out enough water. You do have to remember that your water is going to rise a bit as you're putting your jars in, but I still have a little bit of that water that I took out on the side. or I should say off to the side. So I'm just going to place my jars in here like so. And it looks like I have enough water, so I'm not going to be concerned about that. And I could put a couple of extra jars in here so that once this really gets rip and roaring, that they don't fall over. I think I'm going to do that just to be sure that my jars don't get jostled around as they're boiling. I took a quart-sized jar, filled it with water, and so now I'm just going to let this come up to boil. And once it comes up to a roaring boil, I will set my timer for 15 minutes. I'm using my pressure canner in order to water bath can. If you don't have a water bath canner, you can use a pressure canner. You can also use a stock pot. What you would do is put something on the bottom of a stock pot, such as a pot holder, a towel, some canning rings, just something to where your jars are not sitting on the bottom of your stock pot. But you can water bath can. You don't have to have a store-bought water bath canner in order to do it. Now it's time to turn on the timer for 15 minutes. It's time to turn off the fire and let this sit for 5 minutes, or at least until it stops boiling. The canner has stopped boiling. Checking my handles to make sure that they're not too hot to lift off the lid. I'm watching the water that's dripping off of the lid. I always make sure that when I am taking my lid off that I have shoes on, that there is no possibility of that dripping water can scald my feet. And I'm going to take my jars out. Here we go. Look at that. That is the pineapple jam. Looks pretty. Oops, sounds like they are already sealing. What I have noticed with the 4 jars lids is that they have a, I guess I would describe it as a less loud seal. The balls jars make a really loud pop. The 4 jars, their pop is not as loud. Oh, sorry about that. I am kicking you guys as I'm taking these out of the canner. That one sounds like it popped. That is a ball lid. And that was one of my pineapple pepper. That one just popped, it sounds like. That is a 4 jars. And my last but not least is a also pineapple pepper, and that is a 4 jars lid. So let's go over to the counter. And that is my homemade pineapple and pineapple pepper jam. It'll sit here until tomorrow after I come in from work. I will wash down the jars and I will put them away. Here is the final product. This is my pineapple jam. Look at that. This is my first time making pineapple jam, and I think I did it, y'all. And the taste is lovely. If you like this video, do me a favor. Hit that thumbs up. Share my video. Leave me a comment. Let me know if you've made pineapple jam and what you think of it. Now, this jam could be used for more than just what I'm doing, which is tasting it with a little bit of cream cheese and cracker. You can use it on many different variations of your cooking, such as marinades. So, I hope you make yourself some pineapple jam, and I'll see you either in the garden or in the kitchen real soon. Bye for now.